Phil King, good to join us on this Wednesday. He is the king of college football talk, and on Nashville Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9. Bill, I had to ask this coming in here because of the explosion downtown in Nashville. I know you live in the outskirts or in another town, but I know your heart is there as well. What's the mindset of the city of Nashville like, which has definitely dealt with a lot of difficulty and tragedy here in 2020?
Yeah, we had the tornado in March, which ravaged businesses right next to downtown in an area called East Nashville, and it went all the way to Cookeville, which is like 90 miles towards Knoxville. That started everything, and then the COVID thing was discovered for everybody in America, I guess, right after that. And then we've had a lot of things, and then the explosion on Christmas morning from some guy who apparently didn't want to kill people, but he wanted to do damage to businesses down there, and he did. Anybody know Second Avenue? It affected 41 buildings, they said. Some of them will never be restored. They were built in the 1980s, or excuse me, the 1800s, and he obviously wanted to take out the AT&T data center. What was interesting, that happened at 6:30 in the morning Central Time, Christmas morning. 5 hours later, all our cell phones went out. Couldn't get online in your house. You couldn't text anybody. If you had AT&T, you couldn't. And it affected people in other states, too. And that's obviously what his target was. But he's a guy that wanted to make a name for himself in a sick way. And he accomplished that.
Well, I know that the as far as human damage is concerned, there not a lot of injuries and the one death.
Right.
Just the mindset of the city has got to be, like almost what's next. Everybody's dealt with a lot of difficulties this year. It just seems that Nashville's dealt with more than most.
No doubt. Yeah, it's been tough. We got roughed up pretty good buildings downtown during the riots too. So it's I'm not big on the 2020 deal that everybody tweets, but it's for the 615. We've had some tough times during all that.
Yeah, and there's this assumption that things will get better in 2021, and hopefully they will. But at least we'll have some college football games to watch on January 1st.
Hopefully college baseball.
That's right.
Kumar Rocker.
Well, yeah, we got to watch Kumar Rocker go against Arkansas at some point.
That's right.
That's no doubt, and hopefully in the next couple, because we've got questions already. People want to know when's the SEC baseball schedule coming out, and here it is.
Right.
We don't even know what that looks like. I want to ask about some of the some of the stuff going into the college football playoff here. How much fun is it to hear and read Dabo backhand complimenting Ohio State, saying, well, they could beat any of us, but they didn't play enough games, and he knows full well, just like everybody else does, that the way Ohio State has looked this season, they don't have a chance, not a chance in hell against these Clemson Tigers.
Couple things. Dabo, and I know a few members of the Clemson staff, and I know Dabo's right-hand man really well. And he's a pretty conservative guy, not a guy that pops off. There's something about Ohio State that irritates him, that makes him want to jab the bear. And this started, at least as far as I know, a couple of years ago. They played Clemson in the semifinals, beat them bad. Clemson played Ohio State in the semis and blanked them. And after the game, he said, man, we were looking at film. There's just no way that team could beat us. I knew early in the week this wouldn't be a game. And that was unusual for him. It's more of a Spurrier kind of thing. And, it's cranked back up this year for this matchup. So, yeah, there's something. I don't know what the impetus is, because Clemson-Ohio State is not a thing. It's not a rivalry. You don't remember. Well, you remember one moment, 1978, Woody Hayes and Charlie Bowman. Famous punch to the throat. And that got Woody fired. Woody was fired basically that night. Found out the next day. That was back in 78. But people watching today, guys, they're not, kids, they're not watching. They don't remember that. They might have seen it on YouTube for a good laugh. But, yeah, guys, there's something that's going on there with Dabo and the Buckeyes.
It's weird, though, because it's like it's Dabo versus everybody that's not Clemson. I mean, whether it's Florida State and the issues with the virus, or whether it's against the media in some cases, or picking on Ohio State like this. And I mean, he still plays the underdog card as much as he possibly can, which might have worked 10 years ago. I don't think it works much anymore, but it's been really interesting seeing his, the way that he's changed, but not changed in these last 10 years.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. He's an all-shucks kind of Andy Griffin guy. Probably watches that show reruns late at night when he gets home, right? And he also brings the Bible out from time to time. That makes the media mad. So, yeah, he's and the thing about it is, guys, we don't think about him like Nick Saban or Urban Meyer, but he's winning, basically. His career's not as advanced, not as old, but guy's an incredible record right now, and you don't think of him as a domineering head coach.
Bill King joining us here on Halftime. Bill, let's transition over. We got a big one tonight, one of the first of the New Year's Six Bowls. You got Florida taking on Oklahoma. And I feel like, Bill, a week ago, I probably would have picked Florida with flying colors, but for all the players that have opted out for the Florida Gators into this game, Kadarius Toney, no Kyle Pitts, do you still have confidence in Florida to get the job done? Because right now, and it's going to break my heart to say this, but right now I'm thinking Boomer Sooner.
We were talking earlier, and I haven't checked since my show in the morning. The line has moved 9 points in the last couple of days. It was Florida -3, so Oklahoma was getting 3, and now it's Oklahoma -6.
According to ESPN, it is -7.5 right now in favor of Oklahoma.
Okay, so it's literally just, and all the money's going towards Oklahoma. Now, if you could have got that +3, that was the play right there. But that was a couple of days ago. Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith now. But there's only one thing holding me up, and I like Boomer Sooner too. But I don't think Kyle Trask is playing his last game to be jerking around. And they do have other weapons. You're not going to duplicate Kyle Pitts. You can't. And Toney, I've been waiting for Toney to do this for 4 years, and he's doing it. He finally did it, and as you mentioned, he's opted out. But I don't know if they can match Oklahoma. Oklahoma's hungrier, I would think, because of the slow start they got with the Iowa State and Kansas State losses. And Florida's defense, let's face it, guys, is not very good at all. So Oklahoma ought to win this game.
I should. I tend to agree with you. So, and also another bit of news I came across: Devontae Smith won the AP College Football Player of the Year, the first wide receiver to ever win the AP Player of the Year. Do you think this transitions him into possibly winning the Heisman because he's the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman? Does this transition to him into winning the Heisman Trophy and the first since Desmond Howard?
Yeah, it might. Yeah, guys, it might not. Again, I haven't looked in a few days. But when we talked last, he was number one on the odds. If you were going to bet it in Vegas, his odds were the best. So, it's either that or it gets offset because you've got Mac Jones and you've got Najee Harris in there siphoning votes off of you. But it wouldn't surprise me.
It's going to be interesting to kind of see where this thing plays out. College football playoff real quick because we're fixing to come into the new year when obviously we'll talk a lot more college football playoff. Are we looking at another Alabama-Clemson playoff, or do you think a Notre Dame or a Ohio State will make some noise, or are we going to look at another Alabama-Clemson?
Something that all the broadcasts for Notre Dame, and I've yet to hear this, Notre Dame's receivers can't get open. And you think about it. Have you seen them complete a deep ball where the receiver was beyond the DB? Now, they catch those 50-50 balls because they got some big guys. But I'm talking about a guy that can get past secondaries. They couldn't get past Syracuse. Now, they beat them handily. Couldn't get past Boston College. It's Ian Book acting like Houdini. I just don't see it. I think Alabama's favored by 20. I think it's a fairly one-sided game. And I think we're going to see the Buckeyes' best game. They haven't played well. Indiana game, they were up 21, and then they barely won the game. And they did not look good at all in the passing game against Northwestern. They won solidly because the defense played so well, particularly second half. Fields has had a thumb problem. That has been an issue. And the ball's not coming out of his hand and on his release comfortably. They say that's better, and you got to remember they didn't have Chris Olave for the Big Ten championship game, who is their best receiver and an All-American. And that'll be an issue, too. But I don't think you beat Pretty Boy. No, I think that game could be close, but you're not beating number 16 in that semifinal game.
Bill, before we let you go, what's your feel on Brian Harsin as the Auburn head coach? I think it's pretty rare that any school necessarily gets their top choice, and in this case, I don't think that was the case. But there was such a rush to assume that it was going to be Hugh Freeze or someone that had a connection to the SEC already, and it turns out being Brian Harsin, a guy that I don't know if any of us ever thought he'd ever leave Boise.
Here's what you had, and I'll give you the clip notes. You had Kevin Steele and the money people, Jimmy Rain, conspiring to get all this done. Well, they got rid of Gus, found the money, no problem there, and Kevin Steele was going to be the guy. They didn't have the AD, though. Couldn't get the AD to agree to it, and obviously social media went nuts against Kevin. So they got that pushed aside, and Harsin was kind of out of the blue. Here's the issue. You just fired a guy who won almost 40% of his games against Dick Saban. Yep. And I don't think you can duplicate that. Harsin's a good coach, but coming into the South, recruiting at Auburn, which is a very good place to recruit to, compared to Boise State, is a absolute war every day. So, look, I think he's a good coach. I don't know if he gets a lot done there due to, let's say, with the expectations of this hire, I don't know if he can meet those.
Well, it just still proves that there's a pipeline of coaches from Jonesboro, Arkansas to Auburn, Alabama. Butch Jones is
That's
next,
right.
I think. It's got to be the way.
That's right.
Bill, appreciate you as always, man. Happy New Year. Thanks for all you do for us, and we'll look forward to talking about the college football championship game next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
See
Bill.
you, Ben.
Got it. That's Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio. Give him a follow on Twitter at Bill is King. And also head over to Joe's Grilling Cantina for an outstanding meal anytime this week.
Half-price apps and taps today after 5 p.m. That is their Wednesday special over at Joe's Grilling Cantina. Head over there this Saturday for from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Their Sippin' Saturday brunch menu. They got great options like their breakfast burrito, breakfast frittata. My personal favorite that I have picked on mercilessly about their margarita mimosa. Good Lord Almighty. It is absolutely fantastic. Their screwdrivers are great. So many great selections for you guys over there at Joe's Grill and Cantina, where you can have brunch with cocktails every Saturday. Make sure you check them out. They're on 3400 South 74th Street in Fort Smith across from Harps. Give them a call at 479-478-9600. That is Joe's Grill and Cantina.
All right, wrap the show up. Change My Mind coming up after the break. Stay with us.